Could a robot learn to play music?
Yeah. Yeah.
Green cards, yes? Okay, so we all think a robot could learn to play, nearly all. One person thinks no. Most people think yes, a robot could learn to play music.
No, because like the piano is such an intricate thing, like you have to be taught. I mean, like if you teach the robot how to play piano, for example, it could probably play like simple things like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, such as that, but I don't think it'll ever be able to play like, say like Beethoven or Mozart level, like that kind of piano, nothing like that.
Would it like the music? Would it ever really like the music? Ooh, might not know. Excellent. More difficult to answer that question, isn't it? More difficult to answer that question scientifically, maybe?
I don't think it will ever be, because like to appreciate something, you have to feel that like feeling of appreciation, and because like a robot doesn't have a soul, like it only feels what you tell it to feel. If you get what I'm saying. So if you tell it to feel happy, it would feel happy. So it's like all of that would have to be programmed. Like I don't think it would be able to appreciate something by itself.
No, I don't think ever that robots will have souls. Again, they're programmed by humans. They don't have emotions or feelings, and I don't think they can ever have that. It's something that's unique to humans and possibly animals, but we don't know that yet. How you feel and how you behave and act and how you come across is a completely different thing. I don't think we can program a robot to have such logical, the way we think is so logical, but our feelings are they're so more in depth, and there's so many ways that you can think about something but act or behave and feel about it at the same time, and I don't think robots have the capability to do that or ever have that.
It's hard work being a film star. So if you feel this one as well, please.
Is our skeleton inside of us, or are we inside our skeleton? Because our brain and our heart is like inside our skeleton, and then our mind is in our brain, which is inside our skeleton. But then our flesh is on the other side of our skeleton. So what makes somebody us?
Like our soul, then our soul.
No, our mind, because our mind is what makes us
our mind
us.
is different to our brain. So you can
No, but our mind is in our brain. Like the brain is like the box which has our mind in.
Maybe our brain is like strictly just scientific, but our mind's linked to our soul.
Yes, but our mind is
So you can
inside
think of
our
it
brain.
in a
Maybe it
scientific
isn't.
way, but then you can also think of it in a
So it's
psychological.
both, but it's really, really hard. But I would say it's much more scientific.
It can be both ways, so I think
I
you
think
should put
more
it in the
scientific.
middle.
But towards the top. Okay.
So welcome everybody. So I'm Martin Coath, and we're here to answer some of these, talk about some of these big questions that Barry was introducing you to. And one of the ones that we're interested in at the moment is, can a robot hear? This is something which interests me because I've been working in an area which is to do with how we hear, how organisms, how we hear, and also how machines might be taught to hear as well. And also I've been working with a sort of artificial brain, designing artificial brains. So normal computer chips are programmable. So you get a computer programmer to write a program which tells a chip what to do. But if they have an artificial brain, then you can't really program it. You can just give it some experiences and see what it takes away from those experiences. So future robots, the future of robotics might well be that they are not programmable devices, but they are sort of an artificial life, where you just bring them into the world and let them experience the world, let them mimic what is going on around them and to extract information from what's going on around them. So I have an interest in how it is that artificial devices devices experience the world in terms of hearing, particularly. And we're interested in how a brain can hear, and whether or not it's possible that we will in the future have this sort of headline, which you can see here, "World First, a robot that can hear." And what would that actually mean? What would it mean if a robot could hear? And you've already answered this question, I think. Didn't you fill out a form when you first arrived, when we were asking you to imagine that you were designing a robot that could hear? Can you remember what it was that you said? Can anybody tell me any of the things that you wrote down if you imagine yourself designing a robot that could hear?
Could do like an action, like an arm movement or something, to show that would be like the reaction to show that they could hear. So, for example, if someone whistled and then it moved its arm, it would then display that it could hear the whistle.
So yes, we would want something that would react if there was a sound. So we would want a reaction. It's a good word. So you've had the chance to think now about whether or not a machine like this can hear. We have something which is a bit like an ear, which is here. This is a microphone, which is a little bit like an ear in some ways. And then we have something which is a little bit like a brain, not very much like a brain, but we have a computer board here. And we have some way of it proving it can react, like you were talking about things reacting. It has wheels. So it has all of the components that we were talking about earlier. And I'm going to switch it on and show you what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we've all seen a device now. You've had the chance to use a device, some of you, which is sensitive to sound, which reacts to sound in the way that you said. If something can hear, it's going to react to the sound. So here's a device which reacts to the sound. How many of you think that this is a device which can actually hear? Put up your hands. And how many of you are unsure? Would you like to explain why you're not sure? Any of you?
When I think about hearing, I think about being able to hear like different pitches and different frequencies and that kind of thing. But I don't think that the robot can hear the same way a human does, because I don't think it can like differentiate between the different pitches. So I think it can respond to the sound, but then not hear, because I think of hearing as hearing different pitches and like different frequencies and that kind of thing.
When I think of hearing, I think of you're adapting to a change in the environment around you, but in a close proximity. So for instance, when we were looking at the robot, it wouldn't respond if we were clapping too quietly or too far away, but if you were in like a closer proximity, it was reacting. So it's sort of a change in your surroundings that you're adapting to, and it's affecting how and you're listening to it. So our like way of responding is to hear.
So when we do something, when we hear things, we bring all of our human experience to the process of hearing. We use our intelligence. In fact, when somebody answered a question, they were talking about adapting to various surroundings. We decide which parts of our environment are the most important to us. We actively participate in the process of gathering information around us. We don't just sit there and wait to be told to generate an answer. And when we do generate an answer, the answer makes sense to us as well as to the person that we're giving it to. And the question is, can any machine, whether it's this or whether it's Siri, do anything other than simply respond to a sound, even if it's responding in a very, very sophisticated way? And it generates a reaction in the form of an answer that makes sense to you. But the question is, do you think the answer makes sense to Siri? Do you think Siri understands the answer? Because if it had been a human being that had been generating the answer, then the human being would understand the answer that it had given. Can it ever hear in the way that we mean hear? And would anybody like to give us an answer to that? Do you think any sort of machine, however far into the future that you can imagine, do you think it would be able to hear in the same way that we can hear?
I think that Siri can hear, because on your phone you have a microphone that can be connected to it, so it not as hearing as a human, but so not nerve impulses. but in a way where the vibrations that are passed on can be interpreted as sound.
I don't think the robot can actually hear, but I think it can like pick up on the sound. So maybe, for example, like the vibrations from the sound, and then the robot can like respond to that. But I don't think it can like hear just like a human can hear.
That if binary, which is then all computers, can only perform one task at a time, it just happens extremely fast, then how will a robot brain, which is essentially programmed by humans and coded by humans, be able to hear something and then respond to it with an answer which it's thought of, because it's been programmed to think that way? It's not independent.